again, MMA True Believers. I am Jason Burgos for Sherdog.com, and I am joined by a man who will now call the Professional Fighters League his new home. After a 7-fight run with Bellator, where he was viewed as one of the very brightest of their rising stars, he has taken his talents to the PFL, and he will have his eyes set on the $1 million prize at light heavyweight in Season 3 starting in May. And that talented fighter is Jordan Young. Jordan, my man, what is up? And thank you for giving me some time to talk this big change in your young career.
Yeah, we're making the jump. It's time. We're going to where everything is earned and not given, and we're going after that $1 million.
All right, now I had a set question, but I'm gonna skip the set question and go to what we were just talking about. Let's talk about the whole things going on with you and what leading up to your last couple fights, because you were not healthy. We're not making excuses here. We're not saying any of that, but you had to deal with some serious injuries of late that I didn't know anything about, and that's pretty unbelievable.
Yeah, I don't really do the excuses or anything like that. And the choice was mine to go ahead and get surgery, like I was recommended. I was the one who went against the grain and felt like I could keep getting guys out of there in the first round. But I had an MRI done after I fought Anthony Ruiz in December of 2018, and the doctor told me you have a slight tear in your labrum and a couple other things going on in your hip. They said do physical therapy and strengthen yourself up and keep yourself out of the pain zone, and we'll go from there. I did that. I progressed through the year. I fought in June, I believe, or July against another kid. It was a short notice fight, like a replacement. And I got through that fight. I went and got another MRI, and they said, the tear has progressed. It's a larger tear now, and you have still the other couple things going on. They said, it's time to get surgery. I said, what are my other options? Surgery, they wanted to repair the labrum and sit me down for 6 months. I'm a young kid making money. I'm like, what can I do? They said, well, you can get PRP shots. I never had PRP before, so I looked into it. That the insurance from the fight wouldn't cover it because it's not FDA approved. So I paid $1,500, I think, or whatever the cost was, and I got the shit done myself, and it felt good. I felt good for about a week or so. After that, though, I believe I tore it even more. Things got difficult for me. I wasn't even able to jog. I did a lot of swimming. I was hitting the Airdyne bike, and grappling was hard for me. I was able to do a little bit of boxing, and kicking also was hard for me. I went into that fight with the Julius fight, and I truly believed I was going to be able to get him out of there. He came with a good game plan, and I wasn't able to execute. He took me the distance, and when we got out of there, I went back and got another MRI, and they were like, "You're shredded. We can't even repair the labrum.
Wow.
So now we need to cut the labrum out, and we also have 3 other operations we need to do." So I'm like, "All right, it's time. Let's do it." That was the last fight on my Bellator contract, and they said, "Go ahead and take care of your surgery, and we'll sit down and talk." I went. I had a successful surgery in Northern California with Dr. Stidham, a great doctor. I couldn't say enough good things about him. He did a beautiful job. The before to after pictures are insane, and that's what I've been doing for the past 90 days now. I've been doing rehab, and everything's been going well for me. I'm progressing far faster than what the average person would be doing. I've been diligent with my diet and my work. But yeah, things didn't work out with Bellator, and now here I am in the PFL. Julius snuck off with a win. I will see him again. This isn't over. I believe that he has a bright future in the sport, and he'll be around. I'll be around, and we'll see each other when the timing's right. And also look at our situations. I don't. We fought. He won. He's just sitting on the sideline. He has yet to have anything announced about him. Bellator doesn't even follow the kid on social media, and here I am into my next promotion. I have my next fights laid out in front of me, and I have a lot of money to go make. You know what I mean? I couldn't complain. I'm much happier in the situation I'm in now than the situation I was in prior. I'm looking at 2 to 5 fights this year versus 2 flat.
Yep.
You know what I mean? You can't lose in that situation.
Now you are a fantastic grappler, and that fight with Julius, there's a lot of grappling, and I like Julius. I'm cool with him too, But how does like that torn labrum affect your grappling? Like, are you pretty much trying to grapple with one arm at that point?
No, so the labrum is in the hip. So
Oh, I'm thinking
really,
like the shoulder labrum. Okay.
yeah. So there's a labrum in the shoulder and in the hip,
Okay.
but the one in my hip is the one that was torn, and
Mm.
I wasn't able to use a lot of lateral movement. I was getting placed against the. If you look at my fights, The only time I really place against the cage is when people are in the 50-50 or they're shooting a double. You know what I'm saying? I don't get placed up against the cage in boxing positions. You know, either this kid is a god of boxing or something wasn't right with me. You know what I'm saying? I wasn't doing things that I've done in all my other fights. And like I said, hat off to him. He got the W. No knock there. You know what I'm saying? He took the W, and I told him respect after the fight. And it's still that. That's why you haven't heard me speak on this matter or like try to, twist the scenario. You know, it's been like what, well over 100 days since I fought the kid. You know what I'm saying? I'm just speaking on what the facts are, and the MRI show that. So
so you told me, you mentioned that Bellator is like, okay, get the surgery and get that handled and stuff like that, or take care of yourself, get better. But since then, since you've gotten things handled, things taken care of, what's happened since then? Have they made it very clear that they want you to return? Did they offer you a new offer with same money or less money, or in short, did they do anything specific to make you feel the need to say bye, Felicia, or was it more about
I
what
mean, I don't. I'm really looking at the future. I don't want to knock them too much. I was able to get verified over there, and I was able to go from not having any money to making a little bit of money for myself. So, it's all respect there. But I was a double record holder in the company, one for having the most submissions in my division, or second place in my division.
Yeah.
I was tied, I believe, for that, and I also had the most consecutive submissions in a row in the company. With those type of accolades, and me being a young 20-year-old, in my young 20s, and just having the mouth I have and having the presence I have when I walk in a room, I felt that I should have had a little more going for me. But you know, everything happens for a reason, and now I'm in the position I'm in. But we spoke, and the money wasn't what I wanted it to be, and also I feel like if you look at what's going on, you weren't hearing about me. You know what I mean? You're hearing about
Yep.
guys with significantly less fights
Not
than
even
me.
on
They're
any
older
main
than me.
cards. Like, come on.
Yeah, not anything. I felt me and Julia should have been on the main
Yep.
card. There was like a 2-1 girl versus like another like 1-2 girl on the main card or something. It's a slight at what you have in front of you, and I'm not quite sure what the issue was, but you can't tell me that there's a difference from me to some of these other guys. I know in North America we love the knockouts, and that's what really goes viral here. But you know, I don't have too much to say about that. I'm happy in the position I'm in, and in my opinion, they fucked up. You know what I'm saying? I'm free, and I'm a young 20-year-old kid. I have an 11-1 record, and my future is ever so bright. You know what I mean?
So how does PFL come into the picture? Like, when they first contact you, what were your original thoughts? Like, were there any other organizations? Because again, like, you have so much upside, you've shown so much already. You're a valuable commodity. Was any other organizations? Was Rising, One Championship, Combate, UFC? Were any of them involved, or PFL came in, swooped in right away, and blew you away, and it was done from there on?
Yeah, I met with PFL before I had my surgery. Even while I was out in California, I was in my manager's office, and one of the guys came down, real cool guy. And honestly, how I even got stirred in that direction was, I'm a made man at American Top Team. I've really put in my work, and I view American Top Team a little bit like the mafia. You know what I mean? There's many levels to it, and the pecking order goes up high. And I feel I recently was a made man. You know what I mean? I'm in the family now, and Dan Lambert kind of put this in motion for me.
Okay.
He's the Don. He started
Yep.
this whole thing, and he put that in motion for me, pointed me in that direction, and he told me that's where he believed I should go, and I trust him. I trust the team, and we went and sat down and had lunch at a very nice restaurant, and I liked his opinions on it, and here I am. I think that I'm going to represent American Top Team well, and bring another championship home, as well as $1 million.
The last time we talked, it was not too long after you had signed a new deal with Bellator, and you talked about how that new deal helped out a lot. Like, you got a new house, I believe you told me. You were really settling into life, doing big things, moving in that right direction. How much of a game changer is this PFL deal for you? And not I know the playoffs and the upside of the $1 million, but just on a per fight level, and also the consistency. That's the thing I hear the most from PFL fighters. The consistency. Your set schedule. You know when you're gonna fight. You know when you're gonna make money. How important is that shit? Because Bellator and UFC could be even very inconsistent. How important is that consistency of scheduling for you?
It's very important. This is a sport, and just like any sport, it's very nice to have a season that to prepare
Yes.
for. I've smoked weed my whole life, my whole career. I gave bud up because I know I have a season in front of me.
Yeah.
I have multiple fights. I haven't smoked in what we're going on a couple weeks now. I'm chilling. I don't care for it. Of course it's a great thing, but I'm making the necessary sacrifices for this tournament because I know what I have set in front of me, and I know the value of what I can go do. If we're talking about the money is beautiful. They came in, they swooped me up. They gave me a nice deal. They blessed me right away for putting the pen on paper,
Oh,
and
wow.
I have no complaints. You know what I'm saying? They showed that they believe in me, and now I'm going to go out there and show them why they believe in
So
me.
by bless, I'm assuming you mean signing bonus.
Of course, of course,
Nice. How,
of
what?
course. Hey, listen. Yeah, I'm very appreciative for the business I've done with the
Yeah.
PFL, and I can't wait to go out there and show why they gave that to me. You know what I mean? To go from one company that kind of is iffy on you, and it's kind of like, we don't know about this kid. You know what I mean? Like, we don't even know if we want to put him on the main card, and then you go to the next, and they're like, listen, not only we want to sign you, we're going to show you that we want you.
Wow.
I'm ready to, that's the difference between having a coach that you don't really care for and having a coach that you'll run through the wall for. You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
Yeah.
Over the last 2 years, how much have you followed the PFL and their product? Are there aspects of it you really dig? Do you wish Bellator and other promotions do? Have you followed them closely, or not really? You've been busy with your career. You've been busy with Bellator. You haven't really been too in depth on PFL to this moment.
No, I like PFL. I went out to PFL's tournament last year, I believe. I cornered my boy Rakim Cleveland. He had a couple fights. It might have been 2 years. It was 2 years ago. And was it the first season? Maybe this is the third season coming up.
Yeah.
Yeah. So the first season, my boy Rakim was in there. I went and cornered him in New York.
You were in New York and you
a
didn't
good
tell
card.
me? Oh, come on,
Yeah, it
Jordan.
was. I wasn't
Come
even in the city though. I was
on.
in like a small. What is it?
Yeah, you're in Long
Coliseum,
Island.
Matthews.
Long Island's near me. Come on, Jordan. Come on.
Yeah, I should have hollered at you, bro. But I was posted up out there,
Yeah.
and I got to meet some cool people, and especially out of their promotion, they got cool people in their promotion. Their staff is cool, just like every other promotion in the game. And I feel that it's going to be a good fit for me. I think that the ability to everything is earned, not given. You know what I mean? None of that other shit matters. They're not. Of course, you got to be marketable. Of course, you got to do these things to make it worth it for them. But they're not out here like looking to advance people based off. They're advancing who wins. Yeah. If you win and you're healthy, then you go on. That's it. So this is refreshing for me, and like I said, I just can't wait to show why they put this belief in me.
Now, you mentioned that Dan Lambert had a big influence in going there, but a guy like another teammate, and Natan Schultz is a season 1, season 2 champion, lightweight champion. Did you talk to him, get any advice at all before making that signing? Or if not, just going into the season, do you plan on talking to him about navigating this? This is a grueling schedule. The PFL schedule stands out because it is grueling. You got to go from one fight, you got to forget it and get into the next fight like 6 weeks later. Are you planning to talk to me if you haven't already to learn how to deal with such a unique situation in those 6 months?
Nathan had a couple words for me. He was happy to hear that I signed. He's a great guy, and I've been happy to see him win the tournament 2 years in a row. I know he's changed his family's life, and it's a beautiful thing. And more so than talking to him, though, a lot of coaches were brought along for a lot of different fighters from ATT for the PFL, and these coaches are knowledgeable on what's going on with the PFL. And I'm hearing a lot of great strategy, a lot of great things. Of course, we have to handle our business in these first two fights, but then you're moving on to a night where there's 2 fights in one night, and I have experienced people in this type of thing. You know what I mean? I feel like I like the PFL. It's giving respect to the tournament format, and it makes me think of all the old school fighters: Dan Henderson, the Nogueira brothers, all the legends that Hicks and Gracie, even if you want to go back to the before the UFC, all the legends who have went out and won tournaments and become household names off of the tournaments.
How much does the loss to Julius and the injuries that no one really knew about, is it putting a chip on your shoulder going into the season? Do you feel, because even at this level, I'm sure you feel you have something to prove. You still work your way up. Even though you're a made man now, ATT, you got to become that made man in the sport. Is there another chip on your shoulder because of this? Anybody that's doubting you say, oh, see, he wasn't as good as we thought, to show like, look, I'm better than you even thought, and I'm going to prove it on the PFL.
Yeah, they're going to see it. Hey, I took a loss. I'm not scared to admit it. Watch me come back and run up a ticket. I don't care. Fuck all do I care about somebody's opinion on what I'm doing. You know what I mean? My numbers are right. Every time I step out there, my family's fed. I'm fed. You know what I mean? I'm happy and content with what I'm doing. I'm living a good life, even without the money. You look at me and you see how I'm moving and the things I'm doing. I'm doing things in between fights, 4 or 5 months after a fight that people right after a fight aren't able to do. You know what I mean? Like, I've really created a lane for myself, and I'm in that lane, and I'm about to change lanes. I feel I'm in that middle lane. I'm about to change lanes to the left one, and then I'm going to put my foot on that gas. You know what I'm saying?
There is a strong, good chance that the veterans like Jordan Johnson, Bozagi, Atayev, Vinny Magalesh, and of course the champion Emiliano Sordi are going to return for season 2. Of course, Emiliano will be there. If you are, being familiar with any of those guys, are any of them fights you would love to get in that season debut in May? To send a message right away to that light heavyweight division. Would you want the defending champion in Emiliano Sordi and his nasty boxing? Would you want that challenge right away?
I mean, I'm looking. What I like about the PFL is that it's really. I mean, I'm sure I could make a request, but I look at this as real Mortal Kombat. It's a tournament. You know what I'm saying? They're gonna pick who you're fighting, and you go fight. Like, I'm trusting their process. I'm gonna leave it up to them, and we're gonna go handle business. What I do like is that I'm going from fighting people that don't necessarily have names to now fighting people who are UFC vets and ADCC winners and NCAA wrestlers and etc. So for that, I'm happy and excited for it. When I was in Bellator and I was doing my thing, no matter what I do, I get a guy out of there in 2 minutes, and they say like, oh, but he's not a name. We need to see Jordan fight a name. Then they give me Anthony Ruiz. I didn't ask for Anthony Ruiz. They give me Anthony Ruiz. He's a 60 fight vet. He has 4 times the fights you have. I get him out of there in 3 minutes. Oh, Anthony's old. Then they go get the next guy, and you know what I mean? So I don't feel like it's going to be as easy to do that when we get in this PFL tournament. Yeah. You know what I mean? I'd start taking some of these guys out, and you have to respect it.
I like that you mentioned Mortal Kombat. It appeals to my old school nature. If you were a Mortal Kombat character entering this PFL season, what Mortal Kombat character would you be? Would you be Sub-Zero? Would you be... I feel like you're more Johnny Cage. I feel you're Johnny Cage. You'd wear the shades and take them off.
Yeah, I like Johnny Cage. He got that style, man. He's Hollywood, but unfortunately, they already got a Hollywood in there, and the real Johnny Cage.
Yes,
yeah?
I just talked to him earlier.
Yeah, he's from Iowa too. That's why we trained at Elite Edge way back when I was a young teenager.
Nice.
I'm happy to see him in there, and we're both gonna shake shit up. But in regards to which character I would be, I don't know. I have a liking for Nightwolf. I like Nightwolf, and I also like Shang Tsung. I like his ability to be anybody. He'll show you any face, And also, when he's done, you could say goodbye to your soul. You know that he's taking your soul every time.
Is there an excitement to get to compete on an ESPN network? Because, you grew up in that generation where ESPN has become the end-all, be-all of sports broadcasting. Bellator has, DAZN and stuff like that. But is it fun? Is it cool in any way to get to be on ESPN?
Yeah, for sure. I think that it's easily accessible. You know what I mean? Like with the app and whatnot. I think that anybody who wants to see me fight will be able to access that and see me fight. I like that they have Mike Tyson involved with the promotion last year in the intros. I like they have Kevin Hart involved with the intros. I think that these bring a lot of eyes to not only sport but the PFL in general. And I think it's a growing organization. This is its second year on ESPN, and I think that you can see a lot of growth. And there was a lot of excitement last year, so I know that the bar is set, and I'm looking forward to. They signed a lot of new guys. I think the roster's gotten more depth, and it's gotten more entertaining. So you should see a lot more entertaining finishes. And I think they're doing one of the beautiful things they're doing is when the fight's over, they're not just sharing the fucking finish. You know what I mean? They're sending it off, and it's getting revamped, and they're throwing graphics on there. And really, that's something I haven't seen from any other promotion, and in my eyes, that's changing the game. That's beautiful shit. I love everything they release.
Now, I wanted to get to my favorite. This is the part of the interview I was looking most forward to. We're gonna have a comic book show and tell for the people that did not watch our interview last year. We're both lovers of comic books. I figure you go first, then I go, then you go, then I go. What do you have for me? Showcase something interesting for me, Jordan. Please,
cool.
Bring the heat.
I'm gonna take it out the plastic. I'm gonna show some love to my dog Jason Aaron first and foremost. I started reading his comics last year from Marvel. He's a Marvel writer, if you will, and this is one of my favorite lines. I'll turn this bad boy around. 1 second, bear with me. This is one of my favorite comics right here. This is Conan Barbarian #1. This started last year, and it came to an end at the end of last year. And it's basically about the death of Conan, you know what I'm saying? So it's going through different stories throughout his life, but the end-all, be-all is his ultimate death. So it's, going through all of his different stages, ultimately leading to that. It's beautiful artwork, and it takes Conan from everywhere, from the desert to winter to being a king to even hanging out in a brothel. You know what I mean? You can find everything in these comics.
All right, now I'm going to showcase mine. I'm going to try to go a little bit surprise here, bring you something maybe to educate you a little bit. You know, I'm an older guy than you. You know, maybe I give you something you haven't seen before. Now I'm going to give you this one. Let's see if we can get this. This is by Brian
I
Michael
haven't seen
Bendis.
that
You've
one.
seen this, so you act okay.
I haven't.
Oh, you have
A
it.
true crime graphic
Now
novel.
this is Torso. This is Brian Michael Bendis. Brian Michael Bendis is like one of the best writers ever, a Marvel legend. This one is before he became a big deal in Marvel, and it's about it's a kind of real life fictional. You know Elliot Ness and the Untouchables. Have you ever seen the Untouchables? Now
Yeah.
it's in a fictional world where Elliot Ness goes to Cincinnati after he's become all famous from getting Al Capone, and he's got to get a killer who's leaving torsos of victims all over Cincinnati. It's good stuff.
Oh yeah. That's what's up. I love crime movies and crime graphic novels. I have to check that out.
All right, now give me
one.
your number two. What's your second
So
showcase?
number 2 is number 16 of the Amazing Spider-Man.
Oh.
I'm not sure if this came out last year or the year prior, but I thought I flipped it around. But anyways, there's about 11 of these in this series because obviously it's number 16 and the storyline is going to continue. But they got my guy Kraven in here, so it's all about the battle between Spider-Man and Kraven, and it's going to go from Africa all the way to inside the city of New York. Beautiful artwork, and a lot of different characters make appearances within the 11 issues, and Kraven and Spider-Man are really getting after it. I enjoy this one.
Now, what Kraven's an old school kind of character, so I admire the fact you appreciate the old school character. What is it about Kraven that you appreciate, and also have you read Kraven's Hunt?
Yes, I have, and Kraven's the man. He's gonna if he thinks that you're dangerous, he's gonna come get you and put your head on the wall. You know what I'm saying? And I like that. That's how I am coming into this PFL tournament. I know who's dangerous. I know who's good at what, and I'm just looking to go in there, handle my business, and hold heads up in front of the crowd. You know what I'm saying?
Very nice, very nice. Now my second option is Secret Wars #2. It came out a couple of years ago. You might have read that one. If you like Game of Thrones, if you like, alternate realities, a spin on things, Doctor Doom is a god in the comic. I mean, you can't beat that. It's unbelievable. Yeah. Everybody and their mother's involved. Thanos is involved. Everybody's in it. I highly recommend it.
It kind of reminds me of like the War of the Realms a little bit.
Yes. What did you think of War of the Realms? I enjoyed it.
Yeah, it was beautiful. Jason Aaron's the man. Like I said, I got into his work, and I really enjoyed the work he did on Thor last year. So I think that he was one of the major characters, and everybody from the Thor universe was major inside War of the Realms. It was a good comic. It had a lot of twists in there.
Now let's take it to from the comics to the movies. 2 questions. Then, are you excited for Lady Thor to be in the next Thor movie? And then also, there's rumors of maybe Kraven being in the 3rd Spider-Man movie. Thoughts on both?
Yes, I think I would be more excited about Kraven being in the Spider-Man movie than I would about Lady Thor. I'm so interested in Thor, and I don't think they've done the best job. Like the one they did, the Ragnarok, it was a little goofy. Right. It was a good movie, but I want to see them really lock down Thor, make a killer Thor movie. You know what I mean? Maybe this will be it with Lady Thor. Maybe that's the missing component. I'm not sure, but Kraven, I definitely think they can do some nice things with him because with Kraven, you can't just have Kraven and Spider-Man, in my opinion. You kind of got to have like a third element in there a little bit. You know what I mean? Kraven is a guy that's usually hunting something. Maybe that's Spider-Man, but when is Spider-Man ever just sitting still, not busy doing something,
Very true.